Hello friends, this is Miss Allrounder. Last time we had seen about models and this time we are starting with accounting. We will be starting with the first unit of 11th standard and the name of the unit is Introduction and Accounting. Here we will be covering all the topics: basic accounting terms, meaning and definition, objectives and rule of accounting, importance of accounting, branches of accounting, qualitative characteristics of accounting, history of accounting. So let's begin. We will be starting with basic terms in accounting. So our first term is business entity. Business entity is a specifically identifiable business enterprise. So basically, the meaning of business entity is it is a business enterprise which is known by a large number of people. For example, Bardis Bazaar and Big Bazaar. A second basic term is transaction. Transaction is an event involving some value between two or more entities. Exchange of goods and services for money or money worth. Example, purchases, receipt of money, payments. Our third and the most important basic term is an asset. Asset is an economic resources of an enterprise usefully expressed in terms of money. Properties owned and used in the business helps to increase the profit of business. Basically, asset is something that will be kept in a business, like for example, machinery, building, furniture. Goodwill. These are the assets that will be there with the business for a long period of time and it will help the business in earning the profits. Assets are further classified into five categories and they are fixed assets, current assets, liquid assets, tangible assets and intangible assets. Let's see all the categories of assets one by one. The first one is fixed assets. Fixed assets are assets held on a long-term basis. So basically, it is a type of asset that is there in the business for a longer period of time, such as land, building, machinery, plant, furniture, and fixtures. These assets are used for the normal operations of the business. Next one is current assets. Current assets are assets that are held on short-term basis. Examples for the same can be debtors, bills receivable, which is also known as notes receivable, stock, also called as inventory, temporary marketable securities, cash and bank balances. The next one is liquid assets. Liquid assets are assets which can be easily converted into cash. So basically, it is a type of asset that can be easily converted into cash. The example for the same is money in hand, money in bank. The reasonable time to convert an asset into cash is for 3 months. Let's go to the fourth asset. The next type of asset is tangible assets. Tangible assets are assets which we can see and touch. So basically, they are a kind of asset that can be touched by us and can be seen by us. The examples are money, machinery, land and fixtures, and etc. The last but not the least, intangible assets. Intangible assets are assets which we cannot see and touch. It is exactly opposite of tangible assets. Here we cannot see and touch them. For example, goodwill, patents, copyrights, computer software, etc. Let's go to the next term. The next term is liabilities. Liabilities are the obligations or debts that enterprise has to pay at some time in future. Liabilities are classified as long-term liabilities. Under that, non-current liabilities or fixed liabilities to come, and short-term liabilities. Under short-term liabilities, current liability comes. Under liability, amount is payable to third party. Here, I have even shown you distinguish between some of the concepts that can come during your examination. So our first difference between is distinguish between fixed liabilities and current liabilities. The left hand side contains the fixed liabilities and the right hand side contains current liabilities. Fixed liabilities are classified as long-term liabilities, as I have told you, and current liabilities are classified as short-term liabilities. Fixed liabilities are those that are usually payable after a period of 1 year, and current liabilities are those that are usually payable within a period of 1 year. The example for fixed liability can be a term loan from a financial institution or debentures, which is also known as bonds, issued by a company. And the example for the current liability can be creditors, bills payable, bank overdraft, cash credit. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide contains the definition on the important topic, that is a capital. Capital is an investment by the owner into the business in the form of cash or any other asset. So basically, it is an investment that is done by an owner into the business to carry out the operations that will be held in the future. Capital equals to assets minus liabilities. The above formula is used to know the capital of an existing business. So basically, it is very important to know the capital of an existing business after its operations and everything. So therefore, this is the formula that is used to know the capital of the existing business. The next term is revenue. Any amount earned by business by selling its products and services and also by various other sources. That is known as revenue. Revenue is any amount that is earned by the business by selling its product or goods by various other sources. The example for the revenue can be commission received, interest received, dividend received, etc. The next term is expenses. Expenses are the cost incurred by a business in the process of earning revenue. So basically, it is a cost that is incurred by a business while earning the revenues by selling the products. The example for the same can be manufacturing expenses, salary paid, wages paid, interest paid, rent paid, office expenses, selling expenses, etc. The next term is expenditure. Expenditure. Spending money for some benefit or property received is known as expenditure. So basically, here we spend our money for some kind of benefits or services or any other property that will be received by us. The example for the expenditure can be rent paid, salary paid, purchase of goods, purchase of machinery, etc. So basically here the goods that are purchased are used for the business to earn the profit. Expenditure can be classified as revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. The next term is profit. Excess of revenue over expenses during an accounting year. The accounting year starts from 1st April of one year to 31st March of the next year. This sentence means that when revenue is more than expenses, then it is a situation of profit. It increases the capital of the owner. The next term is loss. The excess of expenses over revenue during a particular year. It means that when expenses are more than revenue, we face losses. It decreases the capital of the owner or the proprietor. The next important term is discount. Discount is the deduction in the price of the goods sold, or it is an allowance given by the trader in the price of goods sold. Discount can further be classified as trade discount and cash discount. Cash discount is the deduction in the list price of goods allowed by a trader, and cash discount is the allowance given by a receiver of cash to the giver of cash while receiving money. Trade discount is not recorded in the books of accounts and cash discount is recorded in the books of accounts. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide contains distinguish between different kinds of concepts. So, let's begin. Distinguish between revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. Under revenue expenditure, the benefit of expenditure is exhausted within a year. So basically, it means that for revenue expenditure, the benefit that is incurred by the expenditure is finished within a year. And capital expenditure, the benefit of expenditure lasts for more than a year. So it means the benefit that incurred from the expenditure will last for more than a year. The example for revenue expenditure can be commission received, rent received, etc. And the example for the capital expenditure can be purchase of machinery, purchase of furniture, etc. Let's move to the next. Distinguish between profit and loss. Profit, loss. The excess of revenue over expenses during an accounting year. As I have told you, when the revenue is more than expenses, we face profit, and the excess of expenses over revenue during an accounting year, we face losses. Under profit, it increases the capital of the owner, and under loss, it decreases the capital of the owner. Let's move to the next slide. Distinguish between trade discount and cash discount. As I have told you, trade discount is a reduction in the list price of goods allowed by a trader, and cash discount is the allowance given by the receiver of cash to the giver of cash while receiving money. It is not recorded in the books of account. This is for trade discount, and cash discount is recorded in the books of accounts. The next one is distinguish between cash transaction and credit transaction. Cash transaction, credit transaction. Here, cash is paid on the spot. Here, cash is paid in the future. Retail seller, cash transaction. Wholesaler, credit transaction. The next one is distinguish between revenue and expenditure. The left hand side contains revenue and the right hand side contains the expenditure. Revenue. These are the amounts of the business earned by selling its products or providing services to consumers, called sales revenue. Expenditure. Spending money for some benefit, service, or property received is called expenditure. It is also called income. So basically, revenue is also called income, and expenditure is also called revenue expenditure. Example for the revenue can be interest, rent received, commission, and the example for the expenditure can be payment of rent, salary, purchases of goods, etc. The next important term is goods. It refers to the product in which the business unit is dealing. For example, say a stationery merchant. Stationery is goods, and for furniture dealer, purchase of chairs and table is termed as goods. The next term is purchases. Total amount of goods procured by a business on credit and on cash for use or sales. The next term is sales. Total amount of goods sold on credit and cash. So basically it means that the total amount of goods that is sold to the customers on credit and on cash. The next important term is stock or inventory. Stock is a measure of goods, stores, and other items in a business, and it is called a stock in hand. The amount of goods being unsold in the godown is called a stock or inventory. The stock of goods at the end of the year is called as closing stock, and the same will be carried for next accounting year and becomes opening stock in the next accounting year. Let's go to the next slide. The next important term is drawings. Drawings is anything withdrawn by proprietor from business for his personal use. So basically it is anything like cash, goods, or any other asset that is withdrawn by the proprietor for his personal use. As I have told you, the proprietor can withdraw cash, goods, or any other asset. For example, a proprietor withdraws 20,000 to buy a car. The next important accounting term is debtors. Debtors is the one who owes to business. So basically, it means that debtors are the ones who will be paying money to the business. As I have told you, all those parties from whom the amount is receivable. So basically, it means that the debtors are all those parties from whom the business will be receiving the amounts. Example for the debtors can be customers to whom goods are sold on credit. Debtors come under current asset of the business. Creditors is exactly opposite to debtors. Creditor is the one to whom business owes all parties. So basically it means all those parties to whom the business have to pay the amount. As I have told you, all those parties to whom the amount is payable. For example, suppliers from whom goods are purchased on credit. Creditors come under current liabilities of business. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide is distinguish between debtors and creditors. It is the same thing that I have told you. Debtors is the one who owes to business all those parties from whom the amount is receivable from business, and creditors is the one to whom business owes all those parties from whom the amount is payable. Debtors are the current assets of the business and creditors are the current liabilities of the business. Example for debtor can be the customers to whom goods are sold on credit, and the example for creditors can be suppliers from whom goods are purchased on credit. Let's move to the next slide. The next slide contains the meaning of accounting. Accounting is the process of identifying, measuring, recording, and communicating the required information related to the economic events of an organization to interest users of such information. So basically, it means keeping the record of whatever operations that are happening in the business. Let's go to the next accounting term, and that is a voucher. Voucher is a documentary evidence in support of a transaction. So basically, it is an evidence of a transaction. The example for the same can be if we buy goods for cash, we get cash money. The next one is bad debts. Any amount that is irrecoverable is known as bad debts. So basically, it just means that when a person is not able to pay, any amount that is irrecoverable is known as bad debts. Let's go to the next one. Distinguish between solvent and insolvent. So, solvent is a situation when the asset of a person is more than the liabilities and is able to pay the debts. Insolvent is a situation when the liabilities of a person is more than his asset. He is unable to pay the debts. Solvent and insolvent. As I have told you, when the asset of the person is more than his liability, he is an solvent. And for insolvent, when the liabilities of the person is more than his asset, he is insolvent. Under solvent, he is able to pay debts, and under insolvent, he is unable to pay debts. Let's move to the next slide. This is a cycle under which the accounting process works. Accounting process, communication of accounting information, decision makers, and economic events. First, accounting process is discussed. After that, communication is held based on the accounting process, and then decision is made. On the decisions, the economic events are held. Let's move to the next slide. Objectives of accounting. So basically these are the objectives of accounting. The first one, second one, third one and fourth one. Let's begin. Maintenance of records of business transaction, calculation of profit and loss, depiction of financial position, providing accounting information to the user. Let's see them one by one. So first one is maintenance of records of business transaction. Proper and complete record of all business transactions are kept regularly. It just means that accounting is used for the maintenance of a systematic record of all financial transactions in books of accounts. Even the most brilliant executive or manager cannot accurately remember the numerous amounts of various transactions, such as purchases, sales, receipts, payments, etc., that take place in business every day. Hence, Proper and complete records of all business transactions are kept regularly. The next one is calculation of profit and loss. Ascertain the profit earned or loss sustained by a business during an accounting year. It just means that the owner of business are keen to have an idea about the business has earned profit or incurred losses. Thus, another objective of accounting is to ascertain the profit earned or loss sustained by a business during an accounting period, which can be easily worked with the help of records of incomes and expenses relating to the business by preparing a profit and loss account for the period. Profit represents excess of revenue over expenses and loss represents excess of expenses over revenue. The next one is depiction of financial position. Balance sheet position statement. It just means accounting also aims at ascertaining the financial position of the business concerned in the form of its assets and liabilities at the end of every accounting period. A proper record of resources owned by business organization and claims against such resources facilitates the preparation of statements known as balance sheet position statement. The next objective is providing accounting information to the user. The accounting information generated by the accounting process is communicated in the form of reports, statements, graphs and charts to the users who need it in different decision situations. There are basically two main users, and that are internal users and external users. Internal users need timely information on cost of sales and profitability for planning, controlling and decision making, and external users have limited authority, ability and resources to obtain the necessary information and have to rely on financial statements. Let's go to the next slide. Accounting as a source information. Provide information for making economic decisions. Serve the users who rely on financial statements as their principal source of information. Provide information useful for predicting and evaluating the amount, timing and uncertainty of potential cash flows. Provide information for judging management ability to utilize resources effectively in meeting goals. Provide failure and interpretative information by disclosing underlying assumptions on matters subject to interpretation, evaluation, prediction or estimation. Provide information on activities affect the society. So basically, the information on accounting as a source of information. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide contains qualitative characteristics of accounting. The qualitative characteristics of accounting are reliability, relevance, understandability, and compatibility. Under reliability, users should be able to depend on the information and degree of correspondence determine the reliability, free from errors and bias, and free from facts. The next one is relevance. Under relevance, information should be applicable, should be available in time, help in predicting and feedback, helps in confirming and correcting the past evaluation. The next one is understandability. Receivers should interpret the information in the same. It depends on the quality of communication. And last but not the least, comparability. Information should enable the user to make other firms comparison and intra-firm comparison. Information should belong to common period. It should have common unit of measurements, formulas, and reporting. The next slide contains history about accounting. History. The seeds of accounting were sown in Babylonia and Egypt around 4000 BC. So basically, the seeds for accounting were sown in Babylonia and Egypt around 4000 BC. Babylonia was also known as the city of commerce. Let's go to the next point. Historical evidences that reveal some form of accounting were used by Egyptians, Greece, Roman and China. This is the historical evidence that reveals that accounting were used by these countries. Egyptians used some form of accounting for their treasuries where gold and other valuables were kept. And Greece, accounting was used for apportioning the revenues received among treasuries, maintaining total receipts, total payments, and balance of government financial transactions. Roman Romans used memorandum wherein receipts and payments were recorded and wherefrom they were posted to ledgers on monthly basis. China China used sophisticated form of government accounting as early as 2000 BC. Let's go to the next slide. Origin of accounting practices in India. Accounting practices in India could be traced back to a period when 23 centuries ago, Kautilya, a minister in Chandragupta's kingdom, wrote a book named Arthashastra, which also described how accounting details is to be maintained. Accounting book in ancient times. Luca Paciollis wrote the first book on double entry bookkeeping, and the name of the book is Summa de Arithmetica, Geometria, Proportion and Proportionality. The important terms that are used in the above book are debit and credit. Debit comes from Italian debito, which comes from Latin debita and debio, which means owe to the proprietor. Credit comes from Italian credito, which comes from Latin credo, which means trust or belief. As I have told you, Babylonia was considered as city of commerce.
Guys, this is my Instagram account. If y'all want, y'all can follow me here as well. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.